and we have come back out into the great outdoors to do some more wildlife photography. And I'm running out of ways to say this, but the weather today kinda sucks. It's overcast and it's foggy and misty. There's rain in the air. Although it's not raining, I can feel the moisture on my skin, which makes wildlife photography difficult for 3 reasons. One, that moisture is never good for cameras. Having rain, having water around camera gear, just something which should be avoided. Secondly, the overcast day, although it means there's a very even soft light everywhere, there isn't too much of that light. And thirdly, that kind of mist, that fog, that rain that's just sitting in the air creates this haze, which I'm assuming you can see behind me. Now, this haze is not good for wildlife photography because when you're zooming into wildlife with a long lens, what you end up doing is zooming into that haze, into that mist, making sharp photos difficult. So that takes us on to what lens do we have with us today? Unlike most wildlife photographers, today I don't have a huge backpack on. Instead, I have this small pouch. This pouch is part of a larger K&F camera bag setup, but you can take it out individually. And this is because the lens we're using today is a very small lens. This is the Canon 75 to 300mm lens. A very small, a very lightweight camera lens that you can use to do wildlife photography. Now, as we do today's shoot with this lens, I'm going to go through a few of the features of this lens because there's many photographers with extreme views on this lens and what it can do. I've had this lens since I started doing wildlife photography and I've taken it out on many adventures, of which some of you guys have seen on this channel. Today we're doing it again on a real British winter's day when the lighting conditions and the weather is less than ideal, to give the Canon 75 to 300mm lens a test in the real world. You know you're in the country when there's just heaps of poo. We are starting today's adventure on a farm, and so we're looking for small birds that are in these hedgerows, small animals which are coming after the cows and feeding on the insects that they're disturbing. In this field, there was a couple of Egyptian geese, so I took some photos and quickly realized how short 300mm is when you're used to shooting with 600. Here are the photos. They're kind of test photos on how this lens works, and while I was doing that, I made some friends. There's a bunch of cows here. There's one really close. There's a bunch of calves. And as I mentioned earlier, the presence of cows is a good thing. It makes the wildlife less uncomfortable. The cows have a flock of starlings which are following them around, and hopefully those starlings will follow the cows which have come to me, and we can get some photos of the starlings on the cow's back or what have you. The other thing is, in this bush just behind me, I can hear a bunch of small birds singing. So hopefully we'll get something if we wait here for a while. I have a stone chat sitting up on one of the plants on this farm. It's flying. Oh yes, that's such a good spot. Right, focus camera. So as you can see, this lens is capable of taking some pretty good photos, and we're not done here. Why has this lens been dubbed the worst lens Canon has ever made? In truth, it's because it probably is the worst lens Canon has ever made. But Canon set the bar very high. You see, Canon makes some insanely high quality lenses, which also come at insanely high prices, some of which are over double the value of my car. However, this lens is a kit lens, meaning it comes with cameras. When I bought my Canon 250D, it came with this lens, allowing you to do photography straight off the bat without having to worry about looking into the world of lenses. This lens was a lens designed to allow beginners, allow enthusiasts, allow people who don't have a high budget to go out and do wildlife photography. A kestrel has just landed on a TV pole up there. It's currently not in a way that I can take a good photo, but I'm hoping if I wait around, it may fly past. Now, doing birds in flight with this lens would be difficult. It's a very slow to focus lens. This means that as a bird's flying past pretty fast, it may struggle. This is the last video you're going to see in 2024. That's crazy. But with 2025 on its way, I've been thinking about this channel and about what this channel is about. And it is about going out with equipment which you guys can relate to. And the kestrel's flying, give me a second. No focus whatsoever. He went into the haze, there was zero focus there. Let's just take a look at the camera, oh dear. But that's what it's about. It's about coming out and doing realistic wildlife photography. And that's my goal. My goal is to go out and create content you guys can relate to, you guys can actually take away with you in your own photography journey. Earlier in the year, I set a subscribe goal for 5,000 by the end of the year. And I should have just left it in the past, but I'm now bringing it up. We're about 750 people away from that 5,000 mark. By the time this is released though, it'll be about 3 days. Hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more awesome wildlife photography content that's relatable. I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to take some more photos, seeing as the kestrel has flown away. We've now left the farm, and as you can see, we're next to a canal, but I found this large expanse of sky with a bunch of trees, which means there's birds flying from one tree to another tree, and we're trying birds in flight. I got a couple of photos of a crow so far. It is a challenge, but it's also possible. And then the wildlife started popping off. We had a sparrowhawk fly across the hedge at the far side of this field, and I did take a picture of where I knew it was sitting, even though I couldn't see it because it is quite a long way away. Having zoomed in on the photo, here you can see the sparrowhawk, just about. This field I'm in is just pure mud. It's on the level of the canal, and you can see over there in the field there's more water. Essentially, this is a marsh that we are trying to make our way through, and luckily for me, I've got these big boots on, which pretty proud of my boots. I point them out in most videos. On Canon's website, there's 34 reviews of the Canon 75 to 300mm lens, meaning at least 34 people have bought one. So our comment goal is 34. If you have a Canon 75 to 300, pop it in the comments down below saying, yes, that's me, hands up emoji. Let's get 34 people down there to prove that Canon have actually sold 34 of these lenses. I have been taking a bunch more photos against the white sky and wanted to point out another thing about this lens, which I'm not actually suffering with today too much, but I think you should be aware of if you're looking to buy this lens, and that is chromatic aberration. This is something which this lens is not very good at dealing with. You do get quite bad chromatic aberration around images, which can be resolved in editing. Sometimes it's irresolvable, and it's just something to be aware of, especially when you're shooting in sunlight. However, on a day like today, shooting against the white sky is fine because there is no direct light source causing that chromatic aberration. The bird's here. It's on the tree, just on the wrong side. So I've got my focus ready. It's a wren, come on, yes, come to my side of the tree. I don't think it's gonna come to my side of the tree. Oh, come on, please, wren. Please come to my side of the tree. I think it might have flown away. But it keeps coming back, so I'm gonna stick around. I'm determined now. With this 300mm lens, to get good wildlife photos, I think the way to do it is to find the wildlife, is to creep up, get close, make yourself small or hidden, as I'm trying to at the moment, and then wait for the wildlife to come to you. No jokes, I've been squatting on the floor here for about an hour. I got the camouflage face mask out. I have 2 photos that prove there is a wren. You can see the wren in both of them, but they're not good photos because the wren hasn't sat out on any of the branches that I want it to sit on, a branch which is far away enough from the tree that we can get some bokeh, we can get some separation between the wren and the background. My legs are also burning though, because squatting is not comfortable. This is where I need like a mini fold-out camping chair or something because, yeah, my legs really hurt, but this floor is also marshland, so I can't sit on the floor. I'm just really hoping and praying that this robin will come soon. Now, Christmas has just gone, and if you didn't get a beanie for Christmas, then I've got some good news for you. This camouflaged, authentic, handmade by me in the outdoors, for the outdoors beanie is currently available on my shop. There is limited supply because I can only hand make so many so fast. But if you're looking for a camouflaged hat, you can get them in green, orange or grey depending on your environment, which is super warm. As I say, handmade by me. The wren's back, sorry. We just got a photo. We certainly just got a photo. Well, we certainly got some photos where you can clearly see the wren. So my legs are thanking me for standing up. They're also feeling a little bit lightheaded, but they're my legs. So not quite sure how that works. Wow. This lens is certainly an experience. After shooting with professional equipment for so long, coming out with something so primitive is, yeah, an experience, a challenge. And look how misty it's got all of a sudden. You can hardly see that row of trees back there. It's got really misty, even though it's midday. Normally it gets clearer at this time of day. It's only making the wildlife photography more difficult. It's also getting very cold. So I'm gonna leave it there for testing the Canon 75 to 300mm out in the real world. I hope you found this helpful. And if you want to see a more in-depth, detailed review where I go into the specifications of this lens, then I've done plenty of those videos. The links will be up in the corner for you. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like and subscribe. Go check out my Instagram if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.